Hey, what's up guys? We're going to be doing the same thing as the last video, but we're going to be using multiband compression. So load in an EQ. We have our kick here. You can hear it. Oh, without. Right, it has a lot of body, a lot of punch, and it's all there. But I want to tame it and sculpt it and kind of put it, into my own style. You don't have to do it this way, but what I always do is I will slip this guy in there, find a correct spot. Right. Alright, so that kind of smoothed it out. So we have our multiband compressor here. This is the C4. So these series, C1 would be one band, which would be like a normal compressor, like this guy right here. C2 would be 2 bands. C4 would be 4 bands, and you can select your bands here, right? So what is this? It looks kind of confusing and kind of scary, but don't let it scare you. What it is basically an EQ that has our 4 points or 4 bands, and it basically does what a compressor does visually, and you'll see that now. It basically, think of it as an EQ that automatically dips or goes up or whatever. So check this out. Right, so a useful tool is you can kind of solo and go into all your bits of your sound in 4 bands. So again, a kick has 3 major components: the low end, which is this, and the mid range, and then your click, which would be this part, right? So those are the 4 things of your kick, for your 3 major components of your kick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the oomph there because I really like it. It's being activated slightly, but it works well. I'll show you what it does. You bring the threshold down just like a compressor, and it'll compress a little bit. The attack is good, so a little bit of the oomph comes through. If we take all the attack, if we have a very fast attack, we take all the low end out. We want that low end in there for a little while. And we can see visually the yellow line is the reduction, and the purple area is the range of reduction. So I want to have it slight just for fun, just because we have it. Usually I won't touch the low end, I'll bypass. So the low end will go straight through and it'll be cool. So what I want to do is kind of tame the mid-range. And I'll increase the attack. And I'll increase the release depending on the material and the BPM of your track. I kind of like my compressors to swell to the beat, if that makes any sense. So the yellow line is the reduction that's going on. So if I have super fast, it goes back up. It's triggered twice because the release is so fast, right? And if I have it too long, we have a lot of reduction when it goes too long. Right, so it swells to the BPM, and it kind of sounds like this. Right, and it smooths out those dynamics, and what it does is it lets that punchy transient come through in the mid-range, but then reduces it as the kick decays. So we're going to be doing the same kind of deal here, and I will move you over to there. Right, so we have a range here, and the range is -8. So there's 8 decibels of gain reduction. Another cool thing is I can reverse this, and it goes up right? So a fast attack and a slow release, right? So we're adding a transient in there, right? So we have upwards compression going on the higher end, so we get more of a click. We can boost that band, and we can solo it to listen. All right, maybe that's a little too extreme. We might gain. This would be like an EQ, and that'll be a very punchy kick, kind of psy-trancey, which is a nice way to go about it. It doesn't boost the low end. We're taking away in the low end and the mid range, but we're using upwards compression, which is compression working backwards. And that's an extreme example, but that just shows how powerful multiband compression can be. So yeah, just a recap. There are 3 components of your kick. 3, the low end, the oomph, right? That part. The mid-range, which would be, you know, the decay-ish part, and the click, right? So when you're mixing, like when you're DJ mixing, you're not listening for the oomph, you're listening for the click, right? When you're mixing, when you're beat matching kicks. So there's 3 major components. So what we did is we took out the nasty bits that I don't like. You don't have to do this, but this is what I do. I took out the nasty bits, and then I ran a multi-band compressor in. So it's 4 bands, a C4. There's 4 bands, and I don't use the last one. I kind of moved it over. So there's the 3 main parts. So for the low end, I left it as is, didn't touch it. The mid-range, I used a gentle kind of compression, synced to the BPM. Well, not really synced, but it's kind of syncopated. It kind of swells with it, so the compressor is musical, so you don't really notice what it's doing. And then our click, I added that in with some upwards compression. You can take it out, but generally you want a click. And you can put an EQ after this, kind of tame that click afterwards, just for fun. And this is what it sounds like all together. Right. Sounds kind of dull and woody. And we added some nice little punch to it. Right, and that's basically how I do it, and you can do it any way you want, but that's how I do it. So hope you learned stuff. Multiband compression is basically an EQ that reacts to the sound going through it. But if you're a little bit confused about compression, you should watch my compression videos, and you'll be good to go. Alright, take care. Like and thumbs up and subscribe and stuff. Alright, take care.